I want to show you my new junk journal with the favorite cover that I have ever done. And I've done a lot of covers, and sometimes I like them, sometimes I don't, but this one is definitely my favorite. The book features this kind of graphic, which you can purchase printable graphics from Etsy artists. So all these neat sort of boho art pictures are from Etsy. So I have a little bit of gold embossing around her, and underneath I have some like pretty teal ribbon with some red stitching, and these are actually wooden skewers and wrapped with orange silk chiffon, and then wrapped with wire and beads, and some little doodads on the corner, velvet underneath, some more of that same silk underneath, and this is a piece of wire wrapped in wool and some shiny thread. And this cool little trim I picked up a while ago. The whole thing is on top of a scarf, which I glued directly to the cover. And the spine has just a little simple dangle on it. That used to be an earring. So I don't know if you can see, but this tie closure has like a burgundy and also like a really pretty fuchsia. It was like two-sided, and I just loved it for this. Okay, let's get in there. She's a greeting card. Like I said, this is sort of boho mystic themed journal. And sometimes I've got some little page toppers there with a stack of fabric or trim. I've made these paper clips out of book words from books cut out, and I wrapped the paper clip in a little shiny paper, and then I glue that on, and I put a little glossy topping on it. So those are throughout the book. And this book is intended to be written in, to be journaled in. So, I mean, if you can imagine handwriting and doodles and things like that through this whole book, there's plenty of blank space, and I tried not to leave any pages blank. So if you see these like spotty pages, these are hand dyed by me and speckled. Okay, so this page has a little tassel with a metal attachment on top, and it matches this page, and it's moon and sun as the theme there. This is shibori dyed rice paper, which is pretty much like tie-dye, and you can write on that. It's kind of for decoration. This was some brown paper that I was spraying primer over jumbo puzzle pieces for a different art project, and when I got done with it, I said, oh, I'm keeping that. That'll be good. I've used that in a couple junk journals before. And on brown paper, white ink and white embossing paper always looks pretty good. This is vellum with some stamping of typewritten words. And this is a little safety pin with some beads. This is an old jelly print project I did, and there's some tissue paper on there. So like not every single page is with writing on, some's just for decoration. Another of those paper clips. And this is a decorative tag, but it also has a little clear pocket there to put this note card in. I like that side too. That's another jelly print. This kind of paper is done by, you take some dish soap and some watercolor, and you mix them together with just a little water, and then you take a straw and you blow bubbles in it, and then you take the paper and you set it on top of those bubbles, and it pops. And so this was a greenish teal one that I did. This was just a piece of plastic hanging around. Don't remember what it's for, so I used that as a little tuck spot because it's got the blue and teal sort of circles that goes with it. And there's just a little fold out for more writing room. Gel print. Let's see, this is the other side of that decorative one before. I had this perfect paper that looked like wood, so I used it as a little door, and I had these little embellishments of the lock and the key. So I put that on and open it up, and This is vellum, which you can write over. And this sort of coordinates with that. And a notebook, a little note card, and that goes into a little tiny pocket. And there's the other side of the vellum. You can write on vellum, no problem there. This is a little jewelry finding and a little ribbon and fabric. On this page, this is part of the Etsy graphics. And this is like a embroidery patch that you can sew on your clothes. So it's actually made of thread. And I found that in craft store. And this pocket has a little notebook with punches that are just sewn on with a sewing machine. And another just flip out for writing. I've got some tiny envelopes in here that are kind of my favorite little detail to add. Here's a little memories card. And in this one, there we go, very small. And I don't know, I didn't really, you could put something to write in here, but I have this book that just cracks me up. That has really nothing to do with anything. This is this guy being a jerk. He's a pickpocket. He's having a fight. He's catcalling women, and he's throwing trash. So I know that doesn't have anything to do with anything, but it's kind of funny. My kind of sense of humor. And whoever ends up with this can throw away anything they don't like and obviously add stuff. And here's another envelope with my favorites, one of my favorite stamps, this little mouse. He's so cute. And so this is just a flip open, so you could write something in there, just with a little piece of paper in there with polka dots on it. You might recognize this as a return envelope for your bills. And so I decorated that and glued it down. And inside is this, it's not a tarot card. I'm really not sure what it is. I got it in a pack of cards, I think, that someone gave me because they thought it would be interesting for my books because they know I collect interesting paper. Here is the other side of that first greeting card. And since they always have all kinds of writing on the backs of greeting cards, I made a pocket, little side, I guess, tuck-in spot that's some scrapbooking paper. And this is sari, I guess, detail from Indian ladies' saris. That's just glued on. And in here is some note paper to write on. Kind of some simple stuff. I included Braille because Braille always is something people really like. And that's like a practice sheet from my sister's calligraphy. Now, this is just scrapbooking paper, but I glued on top of it. It's a paper placemat that's sort of lacy, if you can see that. And I liked how busy that made everything look. Little pocket with some textured stencil stuff. And a note card and another little envelope with another of my favorite stamps of this little chicken. And he has a couple of pictures. Oops, let's see. There we go. That and a bee. And I glued in a Chinese fortune cookie. Fortune. How can you have a beautiful ending without making beautiful mistakes? So you could write in there or just hang on to it. Just some embellishment on the top. That was just like from an old skirt. Some watercolor lines. And this is how they used to sell sewing needles. If you see how it's folded like that, you can get a template online of that. So you could write in there if you wanted to, but also I have these little mini writing cards. And this is a punch of a tag. And then I just put strips of washi tape over it just for decoration. And I guess you could write on that too. I will put this away later. The stack here is probably one of my favorites. And this paper clip is just a normal clip that I took a jewelry round nose plier to it, and I made it a little curl on the end, which I think makes it just a little bit cool and special. And she's part of the graphics set, like a bookmark or something. I have this document that I have all kinds of lines, and so sometimes I just print that out, and then I decided to make the lines with some like a watermark behind it. So that's that. They go in here. That little tag is just on the paper clip with a jump ring. If you don't do jewelry or whatever, you know, you might want to pick up a couple of the simple things like that, because I really do think the details add a lot to this. And there's a page they can write onto, of course. Some page toppers. Another greeting card, which I think is so pretty. And it's got this jumbo paper clip, which is just a little ribbon and a little piece of yarn just tied on there just to make it interesting. Journaling card. Decor. So this is a pocket of, if you go over by the tissue paper section in like any store, they'll have this plastic that has a little bit of decoration on it to add to your packages. So that's there, so I can slip this in, which you can just buy this at the craft store. And I just put a couple of photos in here, just, you know, silly photos. And whoever ends up with this can put their own in, of course. So that slips in there, so you can still see the pattern behind it, but you've got that decorative thing. This is just kind of nicely coordinated, a little bit of collage, a little bit of sewing, machine sewing, I should say. This is the other side of the clear pocket one, and I made a matching envelope to go in that tuck spot. And if you look at it, the envelope is constructed so that there's a piece of vellum along a diagonal from it, so that you can kind of see what's in it. And that's a moth. It's a little bitty book to write in with a Japanese stab binding. So I made the envelope. I don't know, I don't usually do matchy-matchy things, but I don't know, I just wanted to. Some collage for this side pocket. This is part of the scarf that's on the cover, and that little doodad, oops, is, I think, from a bracelet. And they could title this page there if they wanted. Okay, so this is the back of the greeting card from over here. So instead of trying to cover it up, I glued an envelope onto it, which I made this envelope. And this is just circles. That it's like an interoffice envelope where you just seal it with a string. And it has a little bauble on the bottom of the string. So in here are more writing sheets. You don't have to be a songwriter. You could just use this for anything. This is one of my favorites because it has a old-fashioned quill and another watermark paper. So this is one of my favorite pictures of a cow, but whoever ends up with this is probably not going to notice, maybe for a couple of years after they've had it, right here is a little bitty journaling thing, and I put it with the same paper as the envelope so it wouldn't hardly show. So it might be a little surprise down the road for them. So yeah, these circle punches, I just punched some circles and did some stamping on it and then covered it with diamond glaze so it's nice and shiny. And those are brads. Here is a piece of film from regular old cameras and some journaling cards. And this opens up four-way and it's got some plain paper in it. And this is a little tiny pocket with just this little cute fake postage stamp. So I was really upset because the sewing on here, the top one was fine, but it kept showing on the inside. I mean, it showed and it bothered me so much. I kept looking at it. So eventually I just put paper over it. And you might be saying, well, why isn't this showing on this side? Because I'll do something like a cheat where I sew the piece of paper ahead of time and then glue it onto a thing. So that was my solution for that. Here's the other side of the paper placemat. These two, I think it's ballet dancers. This tag has some black shiny tulle as a top little tuft there, and some sewing and some of that graphic. The pocket here is made out of a velvet, and I have a little bitty tiny tag and a little bitty tiny pin to hold it on with a little tiny little stamp. If you notice, I'm into tiny little things. This is from a fortune teller card deck, I guess. Take a deep breath. Clip with the word courage on it. More vellum. This pink roses kind of stuff is probably about as girly as you're going to get in this magazine. If you notice, I tried to use, you know, gem colors and not too many frills and lace and whatnot. Some stuff to write in. This is the kind of card you get with flowers. And another of my watermark line paper. Some collaging on this pocket. Not my favorite. All right, this girl was a wine label, and I glued her under this torn piece of, it was a box that had a gift set of hand soap in it, and I just thought it was so pretty. And in here, I made a bookmark that you can write on the back. It's got some yarn as a top tassel, and these are meant to look like tickets from that graphic set, so you can write on the back of that if you like. This guy is so cute. I just love him. He's a little dragonfly, and I sort of cut him at an angle and sewed him on there just so it's a place to just tuck this little note paper. She is from a package of incense, I believe, and this background is gel print, and I sewed it with some shiny yarn, and it's got this a dangle on the end of the yarn that just hangs out of the book. And she's in a pocket envelope type of thing, and which has this little tiny book with a couple pieces of paper and that. So I didn't decorate the back of this. I just sort of like the way the plain print looked, so I left it that way. People could always just put, you know, a picture of something they wanted. Passion paper clip, more watermark paper. Here's another of the wrapping paper in the tissue area of a store, so you can, just to make this less plain. So another moth, a collage tag of some sort, you can write on the back of there. An antique map piece. This was kind of cool because it's a really shiny paper. I don't know if you can see. And I don't know, this just sort of went with it, this tag. I thought it went well. So, and it says, "Stay Wild, Moonchild." And it's another washi tape tag that I did with a little bit larger of a punch. Some watercolor lines, and that's copper tape that's embossed with this stamp I had, and this piece of tape has been hanging around my stuff for years, literally. And a little bit of fringe yarn, the other side of the ballerinas, and just a decorative something on the back. And here's my name and email address if anybody wants to get a hold of me about it. I thank you for watching.